episode 16, step 1 to breaking free from trauma.
So, are you ready to unlock your healing power, to turn your wounds into wisdom, to replace the fear of the unknown with courage to face it head on? If so, welcome to the Empowered Transformational Healing Podcast, a beacon of hope in your healing journey. I am your host, 𝐶𝐞𝐫 𝐽, and now I would love for you to imagine this space as a sanctuary where we unravel the tightly knotted threads of our past traumas, where we transform our secret silent cries of pain into powerful roars of strength, a place where we finally break free from the invisible chains that are holding us hostage. It's time to stop questioning who you are and start discovering your authentic self. This is not just about survival. It's about thriving. It's about embracing the journey of transformational healing that leads you to live a life filled with joy, passion, and purpose. Each week, we will dive into powerful conversations, share inspirational stories, and sometimes heartbreaking stories, because guess what? It's all real and it's all true. And we'll provide practical tools that will empower you to navigate through life's challenges. So no matter where you are in your healing journey, this podcast here is designed to help you tap into your inner strength and embrace your uniqueness and awaken with your full potential. So now, let's begin.
Hey, it's 𝐶𝐞𝐫 𝐽 with the Empowered Transformational Healing Podcast with me, 𝐶𝐞𝐫 𝐽. This week, instead of struggling through recording an episode with the flu, I am bringing you step 1 to the 5 steps to breaking free from trauma. That's right. So, there is a workbook available and you can watch the full thing on YouTube, but let's get started with episode 16, step 1 to breaking free from trauma.
Welcome to Breaking Free from the Chains of Trauma and 5 steps to reclaim your life. This is going to help answer the how do I know who I am? How do I discover myself? The question that I hear all the time is, who am I? I don't know who I am. That is a very common statement. So today, with Breaking Free from the Chains of Trauma, we're going to go over the 5 steps to reclaim your life. And as you're doing that, it's going to also assist you in discovering who you are and at least starting that process. So again, welcome to this informing and empowering webinar. Now, we are thrilled to have you join us today to explore new ways to unlock your potential and achieve your dreams. Now, during this session, we will share valuable insights and tips to help you overcome obstacles and develop a positive mindset, a growth mindset, okay? You will also have the opportunity to connect, ask questions, whether you are looking to start your healing journey, get some tips, get guidance on your healing journey, or to simply live your best life. This webinar is for you. So get ready and be inspired. And we're going to start with, what is trauma. Now, trauma can be defined as an experience that is overwhelming and exceeds an individual's ability to cope. And when an event is too much for us to handle, our brains respond by protecting us from harm then and there and future. Now, this can result in feeling numb, being hypervigilant, shutting down completely. It could be that someone's controlling how you speak or who you speak to or who you hang out with. It could be that you're not able to have your own opinion, or you're not able to do for yourself because you're always doing for others or a partner or a friend or coworker or a boss. We can be traumatized in all types of situations in all types of relationships. It could be that you're living in fear of disappointing others. You may experience sexual abuse or emotional abuse or psychological abuse or even medical abuse. You could be being called out your name, being manipulated. You may be in a relationship with a narcissist, and that can be a partner, a spouse, a parent, a sibling, again, a friend, coworker. But either way, if you have experienced a traumatic event, it is likely that you are carrying around some baggage that is preventing you from living your best life. But don't soak in it, because there is hope. And by starting this webinar and watching it today, you have begun the steps to heal from trauma, breaking the chains of trauma, and reclaim your life. Now, imagine waking up every morning and you're feeling like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Now, these scars of past trauma linger, both visible and invisible, and they haunting every step. Now, time to stop waking up every morning feeling like the weight of the world is being carried on your shoulder. Now, the scars of past trauma lingers, and they're both invisible and visible scars. And these hooks of trauma, they dig deep into us. And sometimes it may seem like it has done so deep that it's like piercing your soul and trapping you inside in a cycle of pain and suffering. I know, because I've been there. But one thing that I did learn is that it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't. And that is what we're doing today, is taking you on a brief journey of those 5 steps to break those chains, to unhook yourself. Okay. And these steps are not always easy, but they are essential for your healing journey. And together we will embrace on a path of transformation and empowerment, guiding you towards a life filled with resilience, joy, and inner peace. Now, step 1, unwanted to unstoppable. Now, before I began my healing journey, I felt very unwanted. I was in a dark, lonely place, and no one really knew about it. You see, I am the strong one and always somewhat have my stuff together. Yeah, right. Yeah. The people around me and those who checked in periodically know that I was suffering in silence. Like, car rides by myself would sometimes turn into crying sessions instead of jam sessions. And I was gasping for air in the shower because I had broken down hard, crying, body tight, and trying my best to be silent without my family hearing me cry, and wishing that I had a listening ear to go to, because I was always that for everyone else. Now, my own history of sexual, mental, physical, and emotional abuse left me feeling a certain type of hard, gut-wrenching, heart piercing, breathtaking way where processing and moving on was not the true way to healing. That period of my mental breakdown was the darkest, with no emotion, no feelings. And it was a place that I have never been. My kids and husband was right there for me. And I know that there was plenty of times where there was like, what happened? Why is she not getting up? Why is she broken? But you see, it wasn't just one thing that triggered my complete mental breakdown. It was a lifetime of trauma, a lifetime of residue that was left from trauma that had built up. And this last incident was enough. I couldn't hold it no more. The best way that I can put it is that, when you play Jenga and you have the blocks all together and tight and you pull them out and everything. Well, each time I went through a trauma, it pulled out a block and pulled out a block and pulled out a block. And this last block that was pulled was the one that had the whole tower falling down. My kids and husband, they constantly checked on me. They constantly made sure I had something to eat and drink. And my husband, I made sure I had like the shoulder to cry on and, hold me when I'm waking up in the middle of the night screaming. And it wasn't a pretty journey. Knowing that I didn't want them to continue to suffer and I didn't want to continue to suffer because I was suffering. I was going days without showers, days without brushing my teeth, days without getting out the bed, only to use the bathroom. I would go without eating, go without drinking, and they would bring me food and I'll take a couple of bites and be like, that's it. I'll take a sip of a drink and be like, that's it. I couldn't stay awake, yet I couldn't stay asleep. It was a horrible journey, but I was given the power to ask for help. I prayed and I asked for guidance and answers and knowledge for true healing, like true healing, not something that lasts, not something that can take off that residue that the trauma leaves behind. Okay, the true healing. And it can make it difficult to enjoy life and experience happiness if you don't have that true healing. And so that is why I am grateful that I have overcome the traumas. And now I'm embracing my authentic self with purpose, passion, joy. Do I have some days that suck? Yeah, but guess what? I can pick the positives at those days. And my days got ruined. And now I can focus on the empowered transformational healing. And that's healing that embraces the essence of my soul, my strength and beauty while enjoying the inner peace that I claim for myself. And that I'm going to teach you today to claim for yourself. Because now I love myself as God loves me. I honor and I own who I am, flaws and all. And I actually know what it feels like to be unconditionally loved because I have that for myself. And the passion and the purpose that came with this has me unstoppable. I am unstoppable. And now you are on your journey to be unstoppable. So one of the things that I had to do on this unwanted to unstoppable journey was to learn about and face my visible and invisible scars. What is that? That's when trauma strikes and it leaves behind both visible and invisible scars, the physical and emotional scars. The visible scars may be physical reminders of the pain that we have endured, serving as a constant reminder of trauma that we've been through. But the invisible scars, they run much deeper. They are wounds that reside within our heart, our mind, and even our soul. It impacts our thoughts, our emotions, and our overall well-being. These scars are not meant to define you, but sometimes, let's be honest, we feel as though they do, or we act or move as they do. They are not a testament to our worth or our strength. They are merely reminders of the battles you fought and conquered. And it's essential to acknowledge these scars, to honor the journey they represent, and to embrace the resilience that lies within us. Now, the hooks of trauma. Now, to break free from the chains of trauma, you must confront the hooks that keep you trapped. These hooks comes in various forms, such as fear, shame, guilt, anger, and they latch onto our minds, preventing us from moving forward. But we have the power to unhook ourselves. The hooks of trauma. I want you to remember these 5 statements. 1, it's not your identity. 2, it's not your fault. 3, it's not a life sentence. 4, it's not a contest. 5, it's not a burden you have to carry alone. Now, section 1. So it's not your identity. One of the most challenging things about trauma is that it can feel like it's a part of you. It can become your identity and you may feel like you can't escape it. However, it's crucial to understand that we are not our trauma and it does not define us. The trauma that we experience is a part of our life, but it's not our whole story, because we are complex individuals with unique qualities and experiences. And it is essential to remember that we are more than what has happened to us. And breaking free from the hooks of trauma starts with acknowledging that we are not our trauma. We are people. You are a person with dreams, desires, and aspirations. And once you realize this, you can start to focus on healing and moving forward. So again, it's not your identity. Now, it's not your fault either. It's common for individuals who have experienced trauma to blame themselves for what has happened or state that they deserved it. However, it's essential to understand that it's not your fault and you do not deserve it. You did not cause the trauma and you're not responsible for what happened. Blaming yourself can lead to feelings of shame, guilt, self-doubt. These feelings can hold us back from healing and moving forward. And it is essential to realize that we are victims and that you do not deserve what happened to you. And there may have been things where we could have made better decisions because there are reactions to our actions, but that still doesn't make it an excuse to be victimized. Now, breaking free from the hooks of trauma starts with releasing yourself from blame. You need to forgive yourself and understand that you did the best you could with the knowledge that you had. You did the best you could at the time. And once you let go of the blame, you can start to focus on your healing and what? Moving forward. So again, it's not your fault. 3 of the hooks of trauma. It's not a life sentence. It's easy to feel like trauma is a life sentence, though. We sometimes feel like we will never be able to move past what has happened to us and that it will always be a part of our life. However, it is essential to understand that trauma does not have control of our lives. You have the power to heal and what? Move forward. With the right tools and support, we can overcome the trauma that we've experienced. It may take time, but it's possible. And breaking free from the hooks of trauma starts with believing that we can heal, believing that you can heal. Have hope and faith that you can overcome what has happened. And once you have this mindset, then we can start moving forward with the necessary steps that work to help us heal and move forward. So it's not a life sentence. 4 of the hook of the trauma. It's not a contest. It's common for individuals who have experienced trauma to compare their experiences with others. We may feel like their trauma is not as severe as someone else's, and therefore feel like they do not have the right to feel the way they do. It is essential to understand that trauma is not a contest. Every individual's experience is unique, and there is no right or wrong way to feel. And it's crucial to validate your feelings, each other's feelings, and understand that they are valid. Now, breaking free from the hooks of trauma starts with accepting your feelings and your experiences. You need to understand that your experience, again, is what? Valid, and that you have the right to feel the way you do. I want you to remember that. Your feelings are valid. Your experience is valid. And you have the right to feel the way that you do. And once you accept this, you can start to focus on healing and moving forward. So it's not a contest. 5 of the hooks of trauma. It's not a burden you have to carry alone. It's common for individuals who have experienced trauma to feel like they have to carry the burden alone. They don't want to bother family and friends, even though those same family and friends come to them. They may feel like they can't share their experiences with others, or that others will not understand, or they have to remain being the strong one. Now, it is essential to understand that you do not have to carry that burden alone. There are resources available to help you heal and move forward. It's crucial to reach out to friends, family, or a professional for support. And breaking free from the hooks of trauma starts with reaching out for that help. And you have to understand that asking for help is good. It's something to be proud of. And there is no shame in doing so. And then once you reach out for help, start receiving the support you need to heal and move forward. Now, trauma can be debilitating, but it's essential to understand that you're not your trauma. It does not define you. Start acknowledging that you are more than what has happened to you. Let go of the blame and believe you can heal and accept your feelings and experience and reach out for help. Now, deciding to heal from trauma. Deciding to heal from trauma is a huge step, and it's a brave choice. Healing from trauma is an incredibly personal and unique journey for each individual. It requires immense bravery, resilience, and self-awareness. It requires the pain you've experienced and making a commitment to yourself, a commitment to reclaim your life from trauma and the triggers from it. It involves a deep transformation of yourself, which is kind of like a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. We too can transform our pain into purpose, our fear into faith, and our trauma into triumph. Because as in Philippians 4:13, it states, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now, this is a powerful reminder that we are not alone in our healing journey. Through faith, we can tap into the strength and resilience that Christ provides and allow us to move forward from unwanted to unstoppable. The process of healing from trauma involves acknowledging our pain, seeking help, practicing forgiveness, and maintaining a connection with God. As we move through this journey, it is essential to remember the words in Jeremiah 30:17. For I will restore health to you, and your wounds I will heal, declares the Lord. One more time. For I will restore health to you, and your wounds I will heal, declares the Lord. So the Lord promises to heal our wounds and restore our faith, reaffirming the power of faith in the healing process. So remember, healing is not a destination. It's a lifelong process. I'll be honest. But the thing about being on this side of it is a lot different from being the other side of it, from the unwanted to the unstoppable. Be patient with yourself and others, because you're going to go through some changes and they're going to be good, and not everybody's going to like it. And it's sometimes going to be new to you, and sometimes it's going to be like, dang, where have this been? Celebrate your progress and embrace the power of self-compassion. Know that you are not alone. You have the strength within you to break free from the chains of trauma and create a life filled with resilience, joy, and inner peace.
This has been episode 16, step 1 to the 5 steps of breaking free from trauma.
Thank you for joining me today on the Empowered Transformational Healing Podcast with me, 𝐶 J. And we never know what others are going through silently. So take time to share, follow, and subscribe. And as always, believe in all that you are, and know that there is this power within you that is greater than any obstacle.